Welcome back.
I was gonna say good morning. Good afternoon.
5 Houston.
I
5
have the gold
Houston.
one. I have like your silver ones. I have gold. Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to the City Council meeting of Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. Before I take roll, I will go over speaker card instructions. If you'd like to submit a speaker's card on any agenda item, please fill out a speaker's card before the item is called or 2 hours after the start of this meeting. This meeting was called at 3:34 p.m. The last opportunity to submit a speaker's card will be at 5:34 p.m. or before the item is called for discussion. To submit a speaker's card, you can grab a card at the front table and submit it to one of the two ladies at the front table before the item is called or before 5:34 p.m. If you were looking to submit an online speaker card, that time has passed as it was 24 hours before the start of this meeting. On roll are Council Members Brown,
Excuse.
Council Member Fife,
Present.
Council Member Gallo is participating under the Assembly Bill 2449 participation rules. So I will defer to the Council President for that.
Councilmember Gallo, are there any adults in the room with you 18 or over?
No, there isn't. Thank you.
Okay, and a reminder, your camera has to be on. Thank you.
It is. Can you hear me? It's on.
Okay. Thank you, council member.
Thank you, Councilmember Guile. Councilmember
Thank
Houston.
you. Thank you.
Present.
Councilmember Ramachandran.
Present.
Councilmember Unger.
Present.
Councilmember Wong.
Present.
And Chair Jenkins.
Present.
Showing 7 members present at this time. Do you have any announcements before we begin?
No announcements.
No announcements. Moving to item 3, which is modifications to the agenda and procedural items.
Any modifications? Seeing none.
Going to item 4, consideration of items with statutory public hearing requirements. There are none on this agenda. Moving to item 5, which is action on the non-consent calendar, starting with item 5.1. Adopt a resolution calling and giving notice for the holding of a special municipal election on June 2nd, 2026, for the purpose of submitting to the voters a measure that would amend the city charter, section 2601, to, among other things, expand the eligibility for members of the Police and Fire Retirement Systems Board and change the board meeting frequency from monthly to no less than quarterly, requesting consolidation of the special municipal election with the statewide direct primary election to be held in the city of Oakland on June 2nd, 2026, directing the city clerk to take any and all actions necessary under law to submit this measure to voters at the June 2nd, 2026 election, and making appropriate CEQA findings. You do have 2 speakers on this item.
Council member, you presented this before. How many minutes will you need? 3 minutes.
All right. This is the PFERS ballot measure, which we have presented a few times. PFERS is a closed-end pension fund for police and fire that has been closed for many, many years. We have fewer than 600 members in that account now. It is almost 99% funded, I believe. So that the money is there, but what's happening is that because the members are elderly, we are having trouble getting them to regular meetings, right? We require monthly meetings and participation of only members of the PFERS board. Because many of them are in retirement homes and many of them, the average age is over 80, we are no longer able to get them to meetings. So we are trying to change the requirements of the meetings so that this board can continue to meet. It is fully funded. There are no issues with this board. It's working well. So we are asking the voters to change a couple of things. And because this is a charter amendment, it has to go directly to the voters. Basically, we are changing the frequency with which they meet and changing the membership so that current members of the police department and fire department retired members of the police and fire department who are not necessarily in PFERS can be members of this board. There are no fiscal impacts to this. As I said, the fund is fully funded. And in fact, we had been collecting a tax from voters over the past several decades. 2 years ago, half of that tax rolled off. In a couple of years, an additional amount of money will roll off. So the average amount is, for an assessed value of $1 million home, about $1,500 worth of taxes have rolled off. $750 a couple of years ago, and another $750 upcoming in the next several years. So this is one of the rare occasions where we're actually seeing a reduction in taxes. And in closing, I just would like to take a moment to honor Chief John Speakman. He was a firefighter for 42 years, and was a member of this board. He just passed last week. He gave many, many years of honorable service to this board, and that, the fact that these members are aging sort of underlines why we need to make these changes. So that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. With 30 seconds remaining, would you like to close this meeting in memory? Okay. Any questions from the council members? Councilmember Houston?
Yeah, I'd like to move it. I know we got to hear the audience, and I spoke to Unger this morning. It sounds good, and I love it.
Got a motion from Houston.
I'll second that.
Okay, so
I'll
let's
second
say,
the motion.
Unger moved it and then Houston seconded it. We have two speakers.
As I call your name, please approach the podium in any order. Please state your name for the record before beginning. If you are participating via Zoom, please raise your hand so I can easily identify you. Ms. Asada Olabala and Mr. Hazard.
So I take issue, Asada Olibala. I take issue with 80s being necessarily non-functional people. I'm be 81 this year, and I'm very functional. So I just don't think that's valid. We have a lot of people in their 80s. I also take issue with the change for eligibility is not clear. It just says someone can be a member of the system with no qualifications whatsoever. You don't identify any qualifications. So, but the real issue is when 90% of your police department doesn't live in Oakland, I'm sure it's a challenge to get people, once they leave the system, no longer living here, to want to participate in anything in Oakland. I don't know if there is a cost involved in putting the item on the ballot. And if that is a cost, what is that cost, and what is the source of funding for placing on the ballot the item? And lastly, I think that 7 members is going to remain. I'm not clear if you're going to change, and meeting 4 times a year and not every month. Some explanation for reducing it to just 4 times a year if you thought it was necessary. But I just want to emphasize again, people in their 80s are still vital, and I don't know what group this is, but I got a lot of energy at approaching 81.
For the record, Gene Hazard. Vote no on this proposed measure. 90% of the officers live outside of this city. We're going to accommodate them, and then they're going to go to San Ramon, Antioch, and wherever they live. And also, there are other hidden agendas on this, just like there were hidden agendas on Measure XX and 22. They put out their term limits for council members, but that was not the issue. They changed the Roberts rules. They asked for increase in salary for the city attorney and the city auditor. And even in the special election of April 15th, it was a transaction and use tax, not a sales tax. But the city voters are paying a sales tax that went into effect October 1. Do not support anything that this council puts on the agenda. They didn't go and circulate a petition, but they come up with it. There are hidden agendas, and I guarantee you there's hidden agendas in this measure. This council has a pattern and practice to deceive the public, Mr. Unger. And so it's not as glorified as they would have you to believe. 80 years of age, 90% of our officers live outside of Oakland. Why are we paying for them to live elsewhere? It'd be different if they were here in this town. Go check the record.
Thank you, Mr. Hazard. We have a motion and a second. Oh, Councilmember Houston.
Yes, I'd like to just state that I don't agree with 90% of the individuals that live somewhere else that are working here. But we can't stipulate that. I mean, I don't know how we able to stipulate. Can't stipulate that. Because I would like the officers and firefighters to live here in Oakland, because you know I'm about Oakland first, right? Oakland first, Oakland first, Oakland first. So, but that's one thing I don't like, but we can't stipulate that. So I moved it, and let's keep it going.
Thank you. Celia?
Celia Warren, Office of the City Attorney. I am also the parliamentarian for the Police and Fire Retirement Board, and I helped them draft this proposed measure to send to the council for approval, to send to the voters. And I just want to reiterate and reassure everyone that the board, the PFERS board themselves approved these changes to the charter. They themselves are in their 80s, and they are looking down the road to the future, to when they're approaching their 90s and needing to be at these meetings, and that it was their idea to push to be able to expand the membership of the board, because they have reported that they have trouble finding members within their system to actually attend these meetings, which require in-person participation. So they asked to be able to expand their membership and to reduce the frequency of the meetings from monthly to quarterly, to no less than quarterly. So they can still absolutely meet monthly if they need to do so, but given the financial status of the system, it's in great shape right now. And they have over time de-risked the system, so there's less and less for them to actually monitor and meet on a monthly basis for anyway. So this is, again, driven by the Police and Fire Retirement Board, and they are asking the council to approve this. And again, it has to go to the voters because it's a charter amendment, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more comments, Madam Clerk.
There was a motion by Councilmember Unger, seconded by Councilmember Houston, to adopt the staff recommendation. Councilmember Brown is excused. Councilmember Fife.
Aye.
Councilmember Gayo.
Aye. Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramachandran.
Aye.
Councilmember Unger.
Aye.
Councilmember Wong.
Aye.
Chair Jenkins.
Aye.
Motion passes with a vote of 7 ayes, 1 excused. Brown. And I believe that was your only non-consent item. Going to item 6, which is the consent calendar, starting with item 6.1, approval of the draft minutes from the meeting of December 16th. Item 6.2, a declaration of a local emergency due to the AIDS epidemic. Item 6.3, declaration of a medical emergency due to cannabis. Item 6.4, a declaration of a local emergency due to homelessness. Item 6.5 is amendments to ordinance number 12187, which is the salary ordinance. Action on this item will result in final passage. Item 6.6 is an ordinance amending the Oakland Campaign Reform Act. Action on this item will also result in final passage. Item 6.7 regarding the 27th Street Complete Streets Construction Contract Award. Item 6.8, a resolution regarding a settlement for Twombly versus the City of Oakland. Item 6.9, appointments to the Mayor's Commission on Persons with Disabilities. Item 6.10, a resolution for appointments to the Commission on Homelessness. And item 6.11, appointments to the Civil Service Board. Item 6.12, a resolution for the Oakland Alameda County JPA appointment. And you do have speakers on this item.
Any comments from the council members? Councilmember Fife?
Yes,
Oh.
President Jenkins, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Noel guy? Huh?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you,
you hear me?
Councilmember.
Yes, item 6.7, the contract that's before us regarding 27th Street. I'd like to register a no vote, and the reason being is that I still believe strongly that we need to keep our contractors in Oakland employed, doing business, and based on the presentation, the second bidder is local, and yet the contractor are local contractors, and I want to support that we invest the money in local contractors, because not only are they here doing the work, but they're also part of the Mandela Training Center where we train our young people, and they wind up working for the local contractors. And so I'm gonna support that we go with the second bidder as opposed to taking an outside contractor from the city of Oakland.
Councilmember will register your no vote on item 6.7, I believe you said that is. Yep. Okay. Councilmember Fife.
Thank you, President Jenkins, for the recognition. I wanted to discuss this item briefly because I pulled it from the last agenda and it was put on today's agenda because of the explosion that is under investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board for the incident that happened in Hayward. I'm not ascribing blame to Redgwick for this particular incident, and I had a conversation with the city administrator's office as well as the city attorney's office, and want to say that I'm okay with the city not having liability in this particular contract because of the insurance policy held by this company. But I also share in some of the concerns that are being raised about our contracting process and how it impacts minority contractors. These two things are completely separate and not related, but I was happy to meet with our staff today about how we plan on moving forward with ensuring a process that is equitable for our contractors. There's not a lot I can say because it's not agendized about how we plan on moving forward, but I also share some of the concerns as expressed by my colleague, and I know some of my other colleagues share those concerns as well. But I wanted to state why I pulled this from the agenda initially, and those initial issues have been addressed by our city attorney.
Thank you, Councilmember Fife. Councilmember Houston.
Yes, on item 6.12, I'd like to speak and say a few things on that item. Okay. Say it now? Oh, okay, I get to speak ahead. All right, so we have David Newton. We're appointing to the JPA, and Mike went off. I'm not sure if you got anyone had the chance to meet with this gentleman or speak to this gentleman. He's eloquent. He's brilliant, and I sit on the JPA, and it's going to be an honor to have David Newton to sit on the JPA with me because he knows real estate. He understands real estate. There's a big real estate transaction that's going on. So I just wanted to speak that I'm so happy that, President, that you chose David Newton to sit on there, which was a great choice, and he's out in the audience right now.
Councilmember Houston.
Yes, sir.
In accordance with our contract with ASEG, did you get permission from ASEG for this appointment?
Yes, they sent the email out, and they said that they recommend or they approve David Newton's appointment also.
Shall I say OAC, Oakland Acquisition Group?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Else? Seeing none, let's go to public comment.
As I call your name, please approach the podium in any order. Please state your name for the record before beginning. If you're on Zoom and your name is called, please raise your hand so I can easily identify you. Ms. Asada Olabala, I have you for all items on consent. Isaiah Daniels, Kevin Patrick Hester, Bruce Grom, or is it Groing? Derek Barnes, I have you with 3 items. Kevin Daly, Jennifer Siebert, Stanley Cooper, Eric Castillon, Sam Rahebi, Bob Rahebi, Blair Beekman, I have you with 3 items. And Mr. Hazard, I have you with all items as well. In any order, please approach the podium. Again, raise your hand in Zoom if your name was called so I can easily identify you and you still wish to speak. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bob Rahibi. I'm president of Redgwick Construction Company. For the record, council member Gallo, we are a local business in Oakland. We started off with small local business. We moved here in 2012. We have been here for 14 years. We are, on our contract, we have a very small local business, CEO Construction, which he is here and he will speak. In regards to the incident over in Hayward on December 11th, the lateral was not hit by Redgwick Construction Company nor an employee of Redgwick Construction Company. It was hit by another company at 7:30 in the morning on December 11th. PG&E took control of the site at 7:40 a.m. and the explosion happened at 9:39 a.m. We were working 2 blocks away, and we were not within the vicinity of the explosion. So that is under
Councilmember Houston.
Can we ask a couple of questions through the president? Can I,
Bob,
the gentleman,
a few.
a few? So what local participation or individuals or companies that you've hired in the last year, 2 years, are just being, so you just said that you started off as a small local business, correct?
that is correct.
And hold on. And you went through the SLBE program?
We did, and our volume increased.
I'm gonna ask over, just give me some yeses and nos. And then, how long did it take you to go, what did you start off with? What was your company size when you started off?
The company was started in 1947. When I purchased it, it was much smaller. So when I moved it to Oakland after I purchased it, and we were doing about $7 million a year when we moved to Oakland.
And how many employees did you have when you started off as a small local business?
We had about 10.
And you owned it how long?
I have owned it since 2005.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it to my counsel.
Councilmember Fife.
So thank you for sharing about the incident, and I want to be absolutely clear that the reason I raised it is because I wanted to ensure that the city of Oakland would not be held liable while this investigation was moving forward. So, and thank you for sharing that it was not Redgwick that was actually responsible for hitting that gas main that caused the explosion there. Who was it then?
It was a subcontractor to Redgwick, and it's under the NTSB investigation, but it was not Redgwick itself.
So was that subcontractor contracted by Redgwick?
It was contracted by Redgwick, but they are not on the 27th Avenue contract.
Thank you.
One more question. Were they listed to be on that contract for 27th? Were they listed?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Charlene.
Hi, one more question to Redgwick.
Bob, one more question.
So it sounds like the subcontractor was the one that was at fault, or whatever language you want to use, but I'm wondering if there was a coordination piece that you all as the prime were responsible for, and if you can speak to that, like coordination with PG&E, et cetera.
Well, the prime is always responsible, so, there is, the subcontractor works under the prime contractor. So it's a project that Redgwick had, and they were on that project, but they're the ones who hit it, and it was not Redgwick.
And so in retrospect, what was ultimately the issue that came out in Hayward, and how can we prevent that from happening in Oakland?
It was a mechanical failure on a piece of equipment that hit a lateral that fed the main line, but it was just a equipment failure that a guard on a piece of equipment dropped down and hit a lateral.
Okay.
I think you're free to leave now, Bob. Well, we need to let the public comment. Can we save the rest of our questions for Bob towards the end? So, Bob, you'll come back up here after everyone's spoke.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Eric Castellan. I am the president of CEAU Company. I am a listed subcontractor for the 27th Street project. I am an Oakland resident. My business is also small local business out of Oakland. I am here to tell you guys to support Redgwick that has been mentoring me throughout my 2 years here in Oakland. They have effectively listed me in multiple projects throughout the city of Oakland and through the Unified School Districts of the city of Oakland. They have effectively communicated with me, invited me to bids, not only in Oakland, but throughout the greater Bay Area. And I am here to support them, to provide you guys to award them, and that basically will give me a contract as a listed subcontractor. Ultimately, our staff is depending on it, and I'm depending on it as well. This project bid on June 5th, and we have been patiently waiting.
Thank you. Can we wait? But Councilmember, if you want to go right now, please. All right.
Through the chair, come up, young man. What type of work do you self-perform?
I do underground utilities.
You self-perform it?
Yes.
And how
correct.
many people do you have in your company?
I have 3 employees with
Okay.
me. I'm
Thank
very
you.
small, sir.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Sam Rahibi, a proud member of District 7. Retro Construction is proudly Oakland. We're proudly local, through and through. I've been working for Redgwick since I've been 13, and I've been driving to Oakland every single day, every summer, throughout school. And I'm very proud of Oakland, and that's why I'm proud of the work we do. We're stationed here in Oakland. I personally drive to Oakland every single day. Additionally, we're the low bidder for 27th Street by $1 million. We're $1 million lower. These are Oakland dollars, community dollars. $1 million which could be saved by Oakland, which could be used to build the city and further improve the city, which we all love. Thank you. As Councilmember Houston said, Oakland first.
Councilmember Houston.
Sorry. What city are you driving from to Oakland, to come to Oakland?
I actually moved to San
No, I'm asking you a
Francisco.
direct question. What
Yeah.
city are you driving from to come to Oakland?
San Francisco.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Benford-Seibert, and I'm here to speak on the awarding of the contract. And by accepting the bid from Redgwick, it reflects a more restrictive list of subcontractors, lack of diversity, and is not as diverse as the list provided by McGuire and Hester. Number 2, I'm not in favor on behalf of either myself as a constituent in District 7 and 6, I straddle both. Although it is the lowest bid, that also means lower tax revenue through the taxes and from the permits that they would have to pay for. And also, if it is the lowest bid, that also means that they're paying the employees more than likely lower, and less revenue is coming back from the local economy from those employees that would be working here. They'd have less money to spend. And number 3, this bid fails to support the disparity study from 2017 where
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up.
Good afternoon. My name's Kevin Hester. So born and raised in Oakland, California. I work for a company, McGuire and Hester. This year we're celebrating our 100th year, also founded in Oakland. So one thing, I got that goofy last name, Hester. About 20 years ago, McGuire and Hester turned into a 100% ESOP-owned company. So although I definitely have something to do with the management of the company, I'm representing 200 plus employee owners for this contract. As I said before, about 10 years ago, McGuire and Hester had the opportunity to do a mentor protege similar to what we're doing right now, what we'd like to do right now with Cooper with Geron Construction. At the time, Geron, this was in San Francisco. Geron was doing, had probably about 10 employees and was doing about $2 to $3 million worth of work a year. Today, Geron Construction has over 50 employees and is probably doing $40 to $50 million. McGuire and Hester would like this opportunity to have the same success with Cooper Engineering. We really want the council to invest in a local contractor, and we think that we can work together and give Cooper the same opportunity and mentorship that we gave Geron. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaiah Daniels. I'm a superintendent for Cooper Construction and Engineers. First of all, I want to say that we're advocating for McGuire and Hester. We've been on a few projects with them now, and it's, you know, you can say for a small company right out of Oakland, they're very nurturing as far as helping us get to where we need to be. We've been on a couple of projects with them now. They have been a great success. And this success is not only to the construction work we're doing, but it's also to the uniting with the community around us. I remember as I first drove into Oakland, I'm here at probably around 5:15 in the morning, walking the streets of Oakland, and I remember the looks I used to get. Now I get a bunch of waves, hello, good morning. I even get coffee on some occasions, you know. So what I'm getting at is that we're right here out of Oakland. The owner of this here company is born right here in Oakland. I make sure that my crew is high.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Your time is up.
Can I get 2 minutes by any chance? I'm the owner of Cooper Construction Engineering.
We have to be fair to all speakers. How many items did you sign up for?
I signed up for this right here. Last time I was here, I had people yield, and they told me that they couldn't yield, so I didn't even do all of that this time.
So you signed up for one item?
Just to speak on 6.7. Thank you so much. Okay. Hello, City Council. Hi, my name is Stanley Cooper. I'm the proud owner of Cooper Construction and Engineering right here out of Oakland. I am born and raised right here in Oakland, K through 12, a graduate of Skyline High School. And then since then, I went on and got myself educated, and I proudly run a civil engineering firm right here in Oakland. Some of the points that I want to make, I've already told you that I'm from Oakland. I'm also a very small local business enterprise, registered right here in Oakland. We need to support local businesses. You know, local businesses pay local taxes. Small businesses pay business taxes. They spoke about the 1 million. Think about how you can get that in business taxes. Redgwick is taking $2.8 million outside of Oakland with the uncertified, to whereas McGuire and Hester is only taking $797,000. If you look.
No. Councilmember Houston? Can we, if it's important, if it's imperative, you can ask now, but there's some public speakers that, yeah? No?
I'm gonna listen to you.
If you want to ask them, ask them.
I'll wait. I'll listen to you.
Okay. Well, okay, so to the two construction owners, we will ask them after the rest of the speakers speak. Mr. Sada's been waiting patiently, and then I also want to hear from Mr. Newton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm addressing item 6.1 first, which was the minutes from the last meeting and the public hearing related to the violations of tree cutting. That baffled me because the question was asked why it took 3 years to address the issue. And 2 staff members gave 2 different reasons for 3 years being the amount of time to address it. One said it was a staffing issue. The other one said a process was not in place. The individual who owns the property had intentions of developing the land. And for 3 years, he has been unable to get a permit. Let's do something about this, please. Item 6.4, emergency homelessness. It is not an emergency. You have done nothing that's substantial to deal with the homeless situation in this city. 6.5 deals with minimum wage being addressed. When are you going to address the 9% of unemployment of African Americans in this city? That's never been addressed. 6.6, you have a statement that says there's a need to take immediate action to avoid a substantial adverse impact. This is related to Campaign Reform Act. But you don't have a need to address the issues of gentrification and what's happening to the African American community in Oakland, but the substantial adverse impact is taking place. 6.7, the 27th Street Complete project. That's around Lake Merritt in downtown Oakland. You have 15 projects related to street development around Lake Merritt. And some communities in Oakland have no projects going on to correct street issues. 6.8 is the lawsuit. The lawsuit that you have is another lawsuit in the Department of Transportation, dangerous condition, $40,000. A bicycle hit a traffic light when it fell down. And over again, lawsuits are going on in the Department of Transportation, and you have not sat down to address how we're going to stop these lawsuits. 6.10, Commission on Homelessness. That commission, the last time it met was in September 24 or 25, and then before that, June of 2025. That commission is not meeting sufficiently to deal with homelessness. And when they did meet, they dealt with something that I found out, the encampment policy. They have to review it every year and produce a report to this body on the encampment policy. That has not happened. So the count that's supposed to go on, that is addressing, and it said in their meeting, that count will not produce.
Yes.
On the item, on that proposed ballot measure, Mr. Sada had asked how much is this going to cost, and Councilmember Houston, before you became actively involved a number of years, and you questioned 90% of officers or first responders that lives outside of Oakland. Go check the data. About 10 years ago, they extended the perimeter to 50 miles, okay? Because folks live outside, and there was going to be some proposed legislation to address that. So they extended the perimeter. You can't tell me that 90% of our first responders or police officers live outside of this Oakland. So you go check it and then come back and tell me. So, and why do you keep having cannabis 6.3 as a health emergency and you don't deal with fentanyl? Shame on you, every one of you. Fentanyl is a crisis. It's killing our children. And you sit up there and you don't have it, but you have cannabis. I gave you a copy of a draft final. And you go to cleanoakland.com and you will see it. This relates to the unlawful act that this president did with suspending Rule 29 because the mayor declined to break the tie. Let me read something to you. A tie vote is not broken, results in failure as a matter of law. California law is clear. A failed motion cannot be treated as pending, cannot be revived by rule suspension, and cannot be revoted upon absent or properly noticed reconsideration consistent with adopted rules due process. Rule 29 cannot suspend to override a failed vote. What you did was unlawful, and I'm prepared to do litigation if you don't correct this. It's the same crap you did, and the city attorney defaulted. They did not respond to my writ on the April 15, 2025 transaction and use tax. The voters and the residents in Oakland are now paying a tax which is illegal. That went into effect on the 1st. I will be filing the default motion, and I'm prepared to go to litigation if you don't correct the suspension of Rule 29. This is unlawful, illegal. You're doing like Trump does. He don't give it because you sit in.
Thank you, Mr. Hazard. Your time is up.
Derek Barnes with East Bay Rental Housing Association. Good afternoon, council members and city staff. I've got a few things to talk about just to kick things off. And at a macro level, I guess it's an understatement to say that we have big challenges ahead of us, but I think some that we can deal with locally. And as our congressional rep says, no one is coming to save us. So staying connected and in collaboration is critical in 2026. And as the representative Ebro, we've got several programs that we'd like your participation in helping to advance in this coming year. One is a vacancy and habitability restoration plan. I've talked to some of you about that already. Another is affordable housing for OPD and first responders that we heard a little bit about earlier in today's meeting. I think we got a good plan for that. And finally, a ready-to-own program, which establishes a program and a way for first-time home owners to get into this tough market, as well as providing some education for our small owner-operators who become rental property owners as well. We are also going to be releasing a winter housing report coming up. Some of you have been given some of this information already, and I want to just call your attention to some of the key data points in that report, being a decline in our small rental property owners in Oakland, but also a decline in the Black rental property owners and home ownership in Oakland as well. And so, Council President Jenkins, we look forward to following up and following through on some of the proposed legislation that we talked about last year. And Councilmember Wong, we look forward to working with your office in advancing some of the affordable housing discussions that are critical to our first responders. I think we can get some win-win-win opportunities here. And to our dean and our council member Fife, my council member, we look forward to working with you on maintaining and building businesses in D3. I think that's really important. That includes things like advancing Costco and helping to make sure that we can get those kind of businesses in. And also creating home ownership and opportunities through a ready-to-own program that we desperately need. We've talked about that as well. And hopefully releasing the last racial disparity report. We have to get that out so we can figure out what we need to do collectively to help our communities that are under-resourced and in desperate need. And Councilmember Houston, public safety, encampment initiatives, illegal dumping activities, you have our support around that. And Ramachandran and Unger, incentives for encouraging more commerce and stabilizing small businesses in Oakland is an imperative. But please don't forget our small businesses that are rental housing providers as well. We have, I think it's a good plan to get some of those people into the business of rental housing, but I think we can do that with creating some incentives in the way that you've suggested in your proposed plan. So thank you, and I look forward to working with all of you in 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. If your name was called and you are in the chamber, please approach the podium. Blair Beekman, Bruce, are you in the chamber? Mr. Beekman, do you wish to speak on this item? I do not have a card for her.
Hi, thank you. Blair Beekman. Happy 2026 to everyone. Got up to a tough start. I wanted to speak on items 6.1, 6.4, and 6.7. For 6.7, you guys have been working hard here today on it already. Thank you. I always come in with the procurement process should always have, hopefully, good practices of tech accountability involved and what to expect with the tech involved, how that involves, our local wheelchair community, what their role is in this process of decision making and tech accountability advocacy, what their role is. All that goes into the procurement process that you're deciding today. Good luck in those efforts and the future of our community we're building. For item 6.4 is an unhoused homeless declaration. Its importance here in Oakland. Thank you. I hope there were some items in 2025 in the fall addressing homeless issues and cleaning issues. You guys have worked really hard to address different ways we can talk about keeping our Oakland streets clean. Thank you. We're trying to find alternative ways than what was it was a very strong initial initiative presented here that I think we're trying to find ways to mellow. Good luck in those efforts, how we can do that. And to conclude, for item 6.1 on the December 16th meeting minutes, I just want to say very much of a thank you in the recent interesting compromise of agreeing to a 2-year flock ALPR vendor contract, while also at the same time looking for a new ALPR vendor in the next 2 years as well. Thank you again. Oakland has simply created a good reference point of peace and best practices in local community policy making and in a possible growing time of war. I hope our local media can learn to more clearly report on these good ideals and how we're promoting an Oakland love life philosophy and policy of do no harm. It can be a good example for everyone at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. Moving to the Zoom speaker. Again, if you're in chambers and you wish to speak on this item, the only person I have is Bruce. Moving to Kevin on Zoom. I have you with one item for item 6.7. Please unmute yourself and begin your comments.
Kevin Daly, Transport Oakland. I'm speaking in favor of 6.7, the 27th Street Complete Streets project. 27th Street is a dangerous street. We have had fatalities on 27th Street and near 27th Street over the last year or two. I also cycle on 27th Street, look forward to having it made safer. The contract has been approved following standard practices. Redgwick is a local company, Hagenberger Court in Councilmember Houston's district. It's wonderful to have two local companies discussing which one is more local, and I look forward to seeing McGuire and Hester on future contracts. And let's also look on contract reform in the future. But for now, we need to pass the 27th Street project, move forward, and make the street safer. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. That was the last speaker.
So anyone who was appointed to a commission, board or commission today that wants to have words, I see Mr. Gonzalez there. I see David Newton. Any supporters want to come in and have words? all for public participation. Please feel free. And if any council members have any questions of the commissioners or potential commissioners, and please feel free. Please approach Mr. Newton and Ms. Brown.
Appreciate you. Just wanted to take this time to personally thank District 7 Ken Houston for standing on business and being who you are, a special member of our community. Wanted to personally thank the President, Kevin Jenkins, for your work in this community and giving us the opportunity to come to the JPA board. I understand that that seat was held by one of our local heroes, who is also, I'm also a Skyline alumni and a Peralta College alumni. I'm also a member and lifelong native Oaklander. I appreciate everything that this means. The importance is astronomical. Right here is my adopted mother and auntie, one of our iconic figures, Miss Elaine Brown, who has done real work in this community. I had to recognize her in this room. She embodies the spirit. Dr. Huey P. Newton said, our place is in this community. As we revolutionize this landscape, people like my aunt, my mother, Barbarette Newton, worked on projects like this and did real work to affect the city in houselessness, to affect the city in jobs. Oakland Coliseum used to be the home of our sports teams. Now they're gone. One of the last standing heroes of our community is what you see murals of everywhere through Oakland is the Black Panther Party. I could not let this day pass without recognizing that. I just want to thank everybody. I prepared something, but I felt I had to come to the heart. We're ready to do this work. All power to the people.
Thank you. So Bruce, I saw you sneak in. Come on, come get your time.
Thank you very much. I apologize for my lateness. My name is Bruce Shaw. I'm president of the National Association of Minority Contractors. I'm here today to speak in support of the contract that has McGuire Hester / Cooper Engineering as the bidders for the street maintenance project. I want to encourage you to continue to reward good behavior. And I think what you see in their offer is that it's the kind of thing that aligns with what Oakland is looking for, the kind of behavior where you're trying to spread equity to all the corners that are typically not addressed. McGuire Hester, with well more than 100 years of existence, is a company that has, by their very nature, been a good corporate citizen here. And they've gone out and done their very best to encourage equity by putting together a mentor-protege program where you actually see them attempting to advance.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, come on up.
Good afternoon, Council President and honorable members of the Council and staff. My name is Rudy Gonzalez, and I am honored to be a mayoral appointee, and with your approval on the consent agenda today, one of two of your newest members of the Civil Service Board. It's kind of in the weeds sometimes in jurisdictions about what the purpose and responsibility is, but as an Oaklander, I'm proud to serve in this perhaps lesser known and hopefully less controversial board or commission for this body. I think it's really important to achieve our goals of equity and to uphold the personnel rules that are deeply rooted in the charter, but also an important element to adjudicating employee issues and employee appeals. So honored to serve in this capacity and to give back to my community in Oakland in this way. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we have, please do speak.
Well, I will be short. I am honored to have been accepted to be on the Civil Service Board. I am a 30-year HR professional. I'm an ambassador for good HR practices, and I want to support the attraction and retention of quality talent so that we can support each other in this city we all love. So thank you. I look forward to working with the other commissioners as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. And then council members, I know we had some questions of the construction companies.
questions for Stanley Cooper. Hey, Stanley. How many people are employed at your firm?
We're a small company, very small local, so it's 8 of us full time. And, you know, my superintendent right over there.
Okay, that's helpful. If I have questions for staff, do we have to pull it off of consent? Okay.
No, you don't have to pull off a consent. You could just ask.
Okay, great. I have some
Yeah,
questions.
this is, yeah.
So my office is right here in Oakland, and so I'm a local grown company. Any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions for you, Stanley.
Thank
for
you
the
so
staff,
much.
though, thank you.
That concludes for now. Is the relevant staff member for this? Oh. Yeah.
Hi, Director Rowan. I have a question. I noticed in the report that it said that since the project is funded by ACTC at the county, that typically this project would be required to comply with the county's local business contract equity program, LBCE. But however, that the county has allowed the city to substitute the LBCE requirements with the city's local small business enterprise requirements. Can you talk a little bit more about the county's requirements and what it is that we're replacing with our own?
Through the chair, I would have to lean on the technical team for the county's requirements. Typically, our requirements are stricter than theirs are. Which is why we request that we use our SLBE program. But as far as the specifics of their program go, I don't know the differences.
Okay, no problem. My other question is just between the two top bidders, so this is McGuire and Hester, was there anything in their proposal that flagged that you didn't think they could complete it, or was it just the price differential?
So through the chair, to answer that question, that's a difficult one because for construction contracts, they're low bid. And so it's kind of like comparing which vanilla ice cream you like the best. The city has its SLBE program that we don't evaluate. That's not a DOT function. That is done by DWES. And we rely heavily upon them to do that evaluation. And so we take their report and incorporate that into our evaluation. But when it comes to the two contractors who we're talking about, both have performed well for the city. So there's nothing that we would object to either one. What we want to see not only those two competing for our work, but we'd like to see 5 or 6 more competing for our work. And so I have no objection with either. I think they both serve the city well. I think they do very fine work where they're working for us currently. And so there's nothing that jumps out at it. So at the end of the day, they were both compliant with the SLBE program, and they were both responsive, and they were both responsible, and one was lower than the other, and we go with the lower.
Right.
Hence our recommendation.
Okay. I also noticed that McGuire and Hester they were like way above compliant at 113%. Can you just explain how does the VSLBE accreditation work? Because they got 30% versus the 15.4%, and we did receive a letter that questioned that accreditation. Can you speak to that?
Through the chair to the council member, no, I actually cannot. That is managed by our DWES department. Again, like I stated, they do those evaluations on the bids. They look at things like the bid discounts, the mentor protege, and so we rely heavily on their interpretation. But my understanding is that the McGuire and Hester team was given the maximum bid discount that's allowable under city code. And even with that bid discount, it did not change the outcome of this bid process.
Okay. And then my other question is just with since it was a price differential of 11, I think about $0.9 million, right? I'm just wondering, say in theory, were we to reward the contract to the McGuire and Hester bid, where would you identify the additional funding? Would it be Measure KK? Is the funding available? Would it take from another project, or could that in theory be done?
Through the chair, so specific to your KK question, we are
Yeah.
actually maxed out on KK.
Okay.
So that's off the table. We would have to go back and find $900,000 to fill that gap. And I, standing here today, don't know where that would come from. But in reality, we would have to find another project and take from it to fill that gap.
Okay. Okay, that's helpful. Okay, that's the end of my questioning.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more questions from council? Houston?
Yeah, that was a good question, council member. Is it possible through the chair I can call up the subs? I want to call up the subs that were here for McGuire and for Redgwick, please. And it doesn't matter, but I don't want to mixed up. If it's going to be Redgwick. If it's going to be McGuire. So come on up real quick, the subcontractors. I have a couple of questions. And it's real simple questions too. It's what projects are you working on right now? Where are they located? And your core employees, how many do you have?
Okay.
So just answer the first one for me.
Yes, so I have 3 employees. 2 are residents out of Oakland. I'm currently working on the 14th Ave project, and I have another project that is not with Redgwick, but it's in San Leandro. Those are my 2 current projects.
And you self-perform?
I self-perform underground utilities, correct. I have equipment, and my labor runs the equipment, and the laborers run small tools.
And you live in Oakland?
I live in Oakland, yes.
Got it. Okay, cool. I'm good. Unless my colleague has any questions through the chair. I'm good. Okay. So any other Redgwick, any other Redgwick contractor in the audience? Okay. McGuire and Hester's subcontractor. So I'm gonna ask you the same thing, sir. Is that what job are you currently working on right now?
Okay, hello everyone. Once again, my name is Stanley Cooper with Cooper Construction Engineering. I'm a General A Civil.
I asked you.
And so I'm working on with McGuire and Hester. I'm listed for 2 things. I'm listed for the concrete, which I'm currently just finished the West Oakland.
Mr. Stanley, I'm gonna ask you a direct question. What contracts are you working on right now?
That would be Woe Step in West Oakland, and I'm trying to get one right now.
Right now.
Yes.
No, which ones? Okay. And core. How many core employees do you have? Like,
I would say about between 6 and 8 core employees.
So they working right now on that contract in West Oakland?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And you self-perform all the work?
Most definitely. We self-perform all of our work.
Okay. Where do you live?
I'm in Oakland. I live in Oakland.
Any of my colleagues have any questions? And that was the 2 subcontractors that's in the audience right now for both companies? Okay.
Thank you. Councilmember Wong. Oh, 5, and then Wong.
I don't have any questions. I just think that the interest from my colleagues on this item and the interest from the public really emphasizes the fact that we need to do more work on our SLBE, LBE program, as well as our contracting in the city of Oakland. It's been under discussion for many, many years. It was hotly contested when I first was elected, and I want to let the public know that this will be one of my prime projects for 2026, is organizing this program in a way that is equitable and works in the best interest of the city of Oakland. There's a lot of work to do. It's not going to happen overnight, but we need to ensure that we're moving forward with equity so that Oakland-based firms are highlighted and nurtured so that they can be, so they can grow and become larger businesses. And one of the ways that I think all of these things are connected is through the processes that we put forward here. So I just wanted to say that because we're going to keep coming to council project by project, asking all of these questions, having these inquiries if we don't clarify what our program should be. And we got to do better. We just got to do better.
Thank you, Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, back to Director Rowan, if you wouldn't mind coming up. So you mentioned that additional funding would need to be identified if McGuire and Hester was given the award. Would that delay the implementation of this at all? And I assume that, small amounts could be taken from a number of projects. How feasible do you realistically think that would be?
Through the chair, I really am not in a position to answer that today. Okay. I mean, we have only so many places that we can go searching for funding. We would have to look to see what other projects we could potentially borrow from, if you will. And then the question becomes, is the money committed? Is the money encumbered? That there may be contractual issues, there may be legislative requirements. So I wish I had every penny of our budget memorized, but I don't. We would have to go back and look at our program budgets and see where we would make up this difference. Okay.
I'm just curious too, just given some of the public comments too around the disparity study. It's my understanding that some cities like San Francisco have a small business or a small local business carve out or a set aside. And at the federal level where I used to work at the Department of Transportation, there was a set aside for disadvantaged business enterprises. I'm wondering if you have thought, or your department has thought about doing that at the Department of Transportation or Public Works, and how that could advance our goals or have any other sort of consequences that you've been thinking about?
Through the chair to Councilmember Wong, at the risk of getting myself in trouble, I came here from Atlanta. We have MBE and FBE and DBE programs. I fully support them philosophically. I don't have any issues at all with them. We also had the opportunity to do what we called market sheltered procurements, which was the DBE, MBE, FBE community only. That worked very well for small projects because quite often what the goal is, if you notice today, I really appreciate one of the comments that McGuire and Hester made, because we don't want the SLBEs to be subs forever. The goal is to really grow them to be primes so that they're able to handle more and do more, and quite often the largest risk for a construction company isn't actually doing the work, it's actually dealing with us. And so to your point, yes, I would entertain all of those ideas. I also fully support the idea that while maybe we're not allowed federally or by the state to be doing things like a DBE program, there's nothing that stops us from having goals and measuring our success against it. But the biggest thing, and I've said this before, is for this program to work, we're going to have to be letting smaller projects more frequently. And I'm committed to that. And I think that's the goal. Most cities bundle these things up. And so you'll have these mega projects and you'll have a handful of subs who benefit from it. And my experience has been that generally the subs don't see a lot of growth, because it's hard to go from being a sub doing $1 million on a $50 million project to then growing to be managing that large of a project. We really do need to have this in mind, that these subs become our primes. And to your point, yes, if we could market shelter, we would look at that. And I know the Councilmember Houston and I have talked about that. We did a small business RFP, an on-call. The on-call waived basically every procurement provision in Oakland City Code. It put the department in a position where we could just pick up the phone and call somebody on the list and say, we'd like you to do this project and let's negotiate the price. We got, I think, 5 bidders and 1 was non-responsive. I was really expecting to see a dozen. So it was a swing and a miss. I think our hearts were in the right place, but the results didn't pan out the way we thought they would. But I think that's what we have to get back to, is the mindset has to be, how do we put these SLBEs, the local and small business, in the prime positions. And again, there's a risk element, there's an administrative element that they're not used to, but yes, we're prepared to do what we need to do to make that happen. I think there are going to be some code changes that are going to be required for us to do that. So sorry about the long answer, but philosophically, I have no objection to any of that.
So as a strong supporter and follower of the Brown Act, we need to keep this to the contract, and this seems like an excellent conversation to be had in Public Works. There's like really fruitful discussion on outside of this contract, but I think there's all an interest here to ensure that everybody eats here in Oakland and we're spreading the love. But if we can keep it to this contract.
Fair enough. I did want to just register a vote then to vote for the second most responsive bidder.
To the parliamentarian.
To echo what Councilmember Gallo's vote was, if that's possible.
Through the chair to the council, what's noticed before you today is a resolution awarding a construction contract to Ridgewood Construction. That's the reso that's before you today. So you can approve the reso, or you can choose not to approve the resolution. But there's no resolution before you awarding to another contractor. Okay. And as the DOT director mentioned, there is a requirement in your purchasing ordinance staff is required to award it to the lowest responsive bidder.
Got it. I'll register a no vote then.
Okay. 6.7 no from one.
Through the chair to Mr. Rowan. If this contract is awarded to Redrick, when will the groundbreaking happen? And hold that thought real quick, because I was sitting in closed session, being a new council member, city attorney, city administrator, and the president said, Ken, it's things that I hear in closed session that I don't like, but is it in the best interest of the city? This is what they tell me. And I gotta keep my mindset on, is this in the best interest of the city, not how I actually feel, right? And that's how I move now. And so I'm gonna ask you a question, is that when will the groundbreaking happen if this is approved today, Mr. Rowan?
So through the chair, thank you for the question, Councilmember Houston. This is actually fairly fortuitous timing, and that it's January and it's rainy and the weather's kind of crappy outside, and we don't typically start projects in the rainy season. So our goal would be for a springtime start. So I would imagine within 90 days we would have contracts executed and be looking at starting in earnest in the spring of this year when the weather breaks.
Okay, and so through the chair again, Mr. Rowan, if it's not approved, and I don't care what contractor it is, I just want local, and I need my SLBEs to be embraced. If it's not, what will the time frame be to pick the second person, the third person, or go out? So you're saying it'll be 90 days if we approve it and the project will move forward. If it's not, what time frame is that, Mr. Rowan?
So that's through the chair of the council member, that's a tougher question, because there's so many options. Well, there aren't so many, but there are options in there, and you alluded to 2 of them. So if an award was made to number 2, there would have to be new legislation to get the council to waive the code to award to the low bid. If we went back out to bid, which I would strongly encourage us not to do that, then you're probably looking at another 6 to 8 months. very likely puts us into another rainy season. So it could delay it as much as a year.
Okay. Next question through the chair. How critical is this job? Is it a public safety issue? Will it cause some type of problem with getting lawsuits that we got to deal with in closed session? I'm just saying, how critical is this infrastructure piece of scope of work?
Yeah, through the chair to the council member, if you look at really the work that we're moving forward, there's a very heavy safety emphasis, and so 27th doesn't have the best track record, and so I don't want to say it's not critical, but I also don't want to say that we have to award it tomorrow, because if we don't, the sky's going to fall. So it's an important project to us. That's why it's where it is in our schedule. But we also want to thoroughly vet these issues. And so when you see us with these complete street type projects, they're very much safety oriented.
So my last question through the chair. So if we wait and it's 8 months, then we're back in the rainy season again.
Yes.
So then that means we wait another 3 months if it depends on the weather.
Through the chair, I do believe, council member, in all reality, if we rebid, you're talking about a year. And prices don't know where they land a year from now.
You know how difficult this is for me? This is very, very, very difficult. Because, like I said, the president said, Ken, in the best interest of the city administrator, the city attorney, in the best interest of the city. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Fife.
I just want to express to the community and to my colleagues that this project is in my district, and it's also difficult for me because I'm seeing a pattern that is deeply concerning, and I want to alert my colleagues to the fact that sometimes asking questions can put you crossways with individuals in the city, and it's a delicate balance that we have to walk. Because when I was first elected and did some of this same kind of inquiry about why is it that it is so difficult for minority contractors to get work in the city of Oakland, there were people who screamed bloody murder as if I was engaged in some kind of corrupt activity, when the reality is there are issues that we have to address in the city of Oakland when it comes to who gets these multi-million-dollar contracts and who doesn't. And then we cry about issues of crime and education when we don't see the same type of economic opportunities in the city of Oakland. That is a problem. At the same time, on this 27th Street project, there are people who are getting injured on a regular basis in that part of my district. It's near 2 senior centers and an elementary school where kids have to dodge cars that are driving like maniacs on a regular basis, and seniors are at risk of consistently being hit. So there are deep issues that the city needs to resolve that we are not going to resolve today with this particular contract, but it should be our primary work to fix this contracting process in the city of Oakland. So I want to move this forward. This is, again, it's a contract that falls in my district, and I want us, through the chair to the city administrator, I know you are focusing on this work this year. I want to make sure that we are coming back to council with updates about what the Department of Workforce and Enforcement, DWES, is doing to make sure that we're bringing minority contractors into the conversation and moving equitably so they can grow to be primes, because right now that is not happening in the city of Oakland, period. And so I just wanted to emphasize that I think it's important that this project move forward, and we cannot afford another year delay.
Thank you. Thank you for your words. So you're moving the consent calendar?
I would like to make a motion to move the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
So 5 Unger, no 6.7, No 6.7 for Gaio, no 6.7 for Wong. Councilmember Houston.
Through the president, can I ask a couple more questions, President?
Of course.
Okay. You know I follow your lead.
Clerk, put the timer on him.
These two contractors are in my district. This project isn't in my district, and my colleague wants to move it forward. And the most important piece for me is that these small local businesses have growth. But at the same time, and I'm telling you what I'm listening to you, Justin, about, the best interest of the city. We already have enough lawsuits. We have things, and we can't wait another year for this project to move forward. I'm going to follow the lead of my colleague, and I'm going to move the project.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second with 6.7 no for Wong, 6.7 no for Gaio. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. On the consent calendar, moved by Councilmember 5, seconded by Councilmember Unger, with the no stated by Gaio and Wong. Councilmember Brown is excused. Councilmember 5?
Aye.
Councilmember Gaio?
I'll excuse him.
I see him.
Is he online?
Councilmember Gaio, please unmute yourself. Councilmember Gaio? Councilmember Gaio, I see you talking. Could you please unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is no for 6.7.
Got that. We're voting on the entire consent calendar at this time.
Well, in this case, if 6.7 is part of it, so I'll vote no.
Are you voting no on consent or just no on 6.7?
No on 6.7.
Thank you. Councilmember Houston?
He done got me confused. Yes.
Councilmember Ramachandran?
Aye.
Councilmember Unger?
Aye.
Councilmember Wong?
Aye.
Chair Jenkins?
Aye.
Consent calendar passes with a vote of 7 ayes, noting Councilmember Gaio and Wong's no votes on item 6.7, and Councilmember Brown is excused. You are now on council acknowledgements and announcements.
Councilmember Unger, would you like to give the name?
Yes, Assistant Chief John Speakman.
Any announcements from council members? All right, seeing none, let's go to open forum.
As I call your name, please approach the podium in any order. Please state your name for the record before beginning. If you are on Zoom, please raise your hand so I can easily identify you. Ms. Asada Olabala, Blair Beekman, Jennifer Finley, Mr. Hazard, and Mavis Griffin. In any order, please. If clerk staff can put 1 minute on the clock, please, for open forum.
1 minute, not 2? Oh no, I was expecting 2 minutes. Oh dear. Well, I spoke most of my words I meant previously. I may always be thankful to Oakland City Council in trying to work out a fair compromise for the Flock ALPR issue. Besides the OPD and PAC Commission, I hope all parts of the community should be allowed much additional input to help deciding a new ALPR vendor. I hope we can all have upcoming ALPR vendor procurement updates at Oakland City Council and committee meetings in something like 6-month intervals. And from this, I feel there should be a time to have a more clear, open discussion in more strategically placed, reduced amounts of surveillance technology in Oakland neighborhoods, as this can continue mostly the same current public safety standards within Oakland neighborhoods. I hope our Oakland community can be in agreement to want to continue our well-balanced approach of social services, the Oakland macro program, open tech accountability, and law enforcement all working together in building Oakland public safety. Good luck in our efforts this 2026. Thanks.
Jenkins, and where's the projects in your district? This project is over there by Whole Foods. They have 14 projects over there by Lake Merritt. You have no protected bike lanes in your district. None. Speak up for your district. It's not about the contract, it's about fairness and equity. Over at McClymonds, Facilities has applied for a notice of exemption. That means they don't want to remediate the lead in the soil at McClymonds. They're asking to be exempt from it. That Costco over there, I will not go to it because we are making too many efforts to avoid the lead, the contamination going on in West Oakland. They've done nothing about the remediation of Bunch. The project at McClymonds was supposed to start in the summer. They've done absolutely nothing. They moved the children over to half of the building and nothing has happened. Nothing. Speak up for McClymonds.
Thank you, Ms. Olabala.
Go to cleanoakland.com. Let me read something. Once the mayor, acting pursuant to the Oakland City Charter, declined to exercise her discretion to break the tie, the matter failed as a matter of law. At that point, no parliamentary maneuver, rule suspension, or procedural device could revive the failed item without violating the city charter, the Brown Act. Thank you, Councilmember Fife. Thank you, Councilmember Wang. Thank you, Councilmember Guile. On 12/16, you look on the last page, you voted against this unlawful procedural change that the president pushed through. It's illegal. Get prepared for a writ, okay? I've already written the draft. I've already written the judicial notice. And here, I've already written the memorandums and points and authorities. You will lose. Look at this document. Look at the case law that supports what I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Hazard. Your time is up. Jennifer Finley, if you're on Zoom, Mavis Griffin, if you're in chambers, please approach the podium or raise your hand. Otherwise, at this time, all names have been called. Mavis, come on up.
Yeah, hi, Maven Carter Griffin, Wood Street People's Collective, longtime resident of Wood Street, unhoused community. We're doing the crisis, homeless crisis, and I'm just kind of curious what that really means, because we're not getting any help, and what would be paying rent or helping us move forward in our life, we're prevented from interacting. We want a contract with City of Oakland, we can't navigate that. We are in a crisis, but it seems like it's more of a crisis about the businesses or about the new developments coming in for affordable housing. We need affordable housing, and we have affordable housing. It's called trailers, and we are tucked away in the corner of the industrial area of West Oakland. We don't have any equity. There's no fairness for us. We can't come to the table. We have no entry into these conversations or any of the rules or memorandums or whatever ordinances. We're just left completely out. We have no voice, which makes us kind of a second-class citizen, and it
Is up. Thank you, Ms. Carter Griffin. Your time.
So I'm sorry that I'm sorry that happened. We have to be equal with the time. Man, Does that conclude the speakers?
Jennifer Finley, if you are on the Zoom queue, please raise your hand. I do not see your hand. At this time, all names have been called. We adjourn this meeting in honor of Assistant Chief John Spearman. I'm sorry, John Speakman.
Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.